Hello everyone and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today, we're going to take a look at something that out of nowhere seems to be a hotly debated topic. How does stealth work in groups? More specifically, do sneak attack damage multipliers work when you're in a group, and if so, how? Stealth builds are incredibly popular in Fallout 76, and the reason why is obvious. If you can keep yourself hidden from enemies, you get anywhere from a 2 to 3.75 times damage multiplier for every attack. That's a huge reward for staying stealthy, but does it work when you're on a team? Does it work when there are other players around? What if an enemy is engaged with another enemy NPC? Today, we're going to figure it all out, once and for all, or at least until Bethesda decides to change something. Remember, if you like this video and want to see more Fallout 76 content, be sure to like and subscribe. I always have more coming out every week on the channel. Just a quick bit of housekeeping for those who have been watching regularly. You may see a little less content from me over the next few weeks. There's no cause for alarm, I just have some real-world obligations that are going to limit my time a bit. I still plan on releasing 2 or 3 videos every week, just probably not the 4 or 5 that you may have been getting used to, just until things settle down. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into this. I've enlisted the help of my friend Little Elf again to help me run some experiments. We're going to visit a few locations and kill some things for science, starting with West Tech. She runs a bloodied stealth commando build, much like I usually do, so it should be easy for her to either get hidden or detected as needed. I've nerfed my own build a little bit here for the sake of the experiments. I'm running at full health and using a vampire's fixer instead of a bloodied one, so it's not doing any extra damage. I've also removed my tenderizer and adrenaline perk cards so that we're not seeing anything beyond standard weapon and sneak damage and have a chance to see what happens to enemy health bars. The first thing I want to see is whether simply being on a team with someone nearby affects sneak damage. She's going to stay close, but ensure that she's either hidden or in caution status. This means that the enemies won't be aggroed against anything, so this should work just like it would if I were alone. As long as I'm in hidden or caution status, I should get my sneak attack multipliers. Let's see how it works. For our first target, we're going to go for this level 68 Warlord here. Remember, we're not seeing crazy damage because of everything I did to reduce it, but 5 shots, 5 body shots, and he's down. Little Elf is in caution here. She's not been detected. We'll take care of that guy, and again, sneak attack multipliers are all still working. You can see with headshots especially, even with all those nerfs, it's 1 or 2 shots and things are happening. And remember, when I say nerfs, I'm talking about things I did to myself. This is not on the PTS. This is not a reflection of damage changes. Don't think that. Clear out some of these hounds so they don't get in our way. And Elf is just sitting right on top of the trailer there, in caution. Perfectly safe. So we can see definitively that having another person simply nearby and on our team does not change how our sneak attacks work. That is all going to be dependent on whether or not that person is detected. And that's going to be the next step here. Now you can see she's running around. I've asked her not to shoot anything, just run around and get detected. And we can see that I'm still in hidden. And this is interesting because I'm hidden. You'll notice that my sneak attack worked. Now, I didn't notice this at the time, so we go back and review it more later, but now that I'm in caution, she's detected. Watch what starts to happen with our sneak attacks. I'm going to start taking some shots. And you can see that I'm seeing the same damage numbers, but look how much smaller their health bars are reducing. Look how much smaller the damage they're actually taking is. I'm not getting my sneak attack pop up in the top left. My sneak attacks are not working. So even though I see the number, that number is not accurate. In VATS, same thing. I'm seeing a big number, but it's not actually doing anything different. Now, the benefit for me here as a stealth build is, of course, that these guys still have no idea where I am. They might have a general idea where shots are coming from, but they don't see me. They can't actually shoot me because they're not targeting me. They might fire in my direction and might inadvertently hit me, but that's the extent of it. But you can clearly see here that when I'm in caution and they are aggroed to something else, it is night and day. There is no extra damage being done as the result of sneak attacks. So even though you might have the stealthiest build in the world, if you're in caution and those enemies are aggroed to anything else, your sneak attacks will simply not count. So we'll clear out a couple more here. She's still detected. And we'll see when I take some shots. I'm in caution, and again, same numbers as we saw at the very beginning, but clearly not taking as much damage. It's much easier to see when it's just one enemy. And there she is, just taking bullet after bullet, or in this case, laser beam after laser beam, all for the sake of science. Also, she can help me out a little bit, which I really appreciate. And more importantly, so we can help you all see exactly how things work. So now I've asked her to run away and get hidden or in caution again, because I want to see how this all affects the same enemy, just so we can really definitively see how it all works. And don't worry, this isn't the end of our experiment. We're going to do a little more work on this. So it takes her a minute because she was in danger. So she should be good right about now. And there we go. Notice, 2 shots, dead. So she goes back into caution. She goes back into hidden. And everything is fine. It is like clockwork every single time. I can't speak to whether or not the way this works is intended, or there's a bug, or exactly what it is, but this is how it works, and it works like this all the time. There are no exceptions, except for the fact that we noticed briefly that if I was hidden, even if the enemy was aggroed, my sneak attack counted. So we're going to experiment a little bit further with that down in Huntersville. But just in case there's any confusion, we're going to look at 2 separate enemy encounters here, just to drive everything home. Here is a level 68 Warlord, and he's going to go down in 3 shots because both myself and Little Elf are in stealth. So my bonuses work. 3 shots to the body, he's dead. Now we're going to try the same thing on a level 48, but she's going to get detected and draw his attention. And there we go. We can see that he reacts to her. He has special dialogue because he's located her. Let's see what this looks like. 1, 2, 3 shots. Not even close to dead, and he's 20 levels below the other one. 4, 5, 6. She's just dancing around him. He's clearly very confused. He's probably torn between the caution status that he knows where my damage is coming from but doesn't see me. What's that, 7 shots? I think it's 7 now. 8. 9. 10. 11 shots to kill him. And 20 levels lower than the other one. So you get the point. Detection matters. Aggro matters. That's the factor. Let's head to Huntersville. Okay, so now we're in Huntersville, home to more Super Mutants. During our first experiment, I noticed that even when the enemies were aggroed against my friend, that the one shot I took from hidden status still seemed to apply my sneak damage bonus. I didn't expect that. So we're going to pursue it a bit more and see if it's consistent. So I've got myself in a good position here. I'm hidden. Elf has gone ahead and distracted him, and you could see there, my first shot from hidden applied my entire sneak attack bonus. So that's consistent. Now I'm in caution, so if I were to hit him again, I already know that if I'm in caution and he's aggroed to her, it's going to reduce that damage. So I'm going to hold tight, and we're going to get into hidden status again. And I know this is a bit tedious, but I want you to see how it works. We'll see if Escape Artist triggers. There we go. We're back in hidden. We'll hit him again. And I'm not using VATS here because it's been so inconsistent. 2 hits, and I'm in caution. The first one worked. The second one didn't. I'm in caution, so we're taking little bits there instead of the big one, because that's how it works. When you're hidden, it's really hard to stay hidden after one shot. What I'm seeing is pretty consistently, I drop right into caution as soon as that first shot hits. So the follow-up didn't do the extra damage. The first shot did. Trying to get back into hidden to see if we can take him out in one shot. We should if we can get back into hidden status. There we go. And he's dead. So there we have it. Very consistent behavior from the game. If I am in hidden status, my sneak attack bonus will still work. That's really important information. There are a lot of players that play as stealth snipers who really rely on one big damage dump from every single shot. And at big boss fights like the Scorchbeast Queen or Colossal Problem, that's really hard to get when there are other players around. So this might give us a way to do that. So let's try again here and just see how it works. Make sure everything works as planned. We'll let her go ahead and distract them. I'm in hidden status. And there's a big chunk. Still hidden. Another big chunk. And now I'm in caution. So I managed to get 2 shots that time. I'm pretty far away, so that makes sense. So we can clearly see that it is very, very consistent. Let's jump ahead a little further into the fight to me back in hidden status and see if it continues to work. So here we go. We're hidden again, and I'm going to try and line up a last shot, and down he goes. Now I'm back into caution. And we can see when in caution, we're only taking little pieces. And I want to show that again here just to show that it's consistent. And there, you saw the rubber banding on the health bar. You see that damage chunk comes off, but then the game just takes it right back. It's very consistent. Depending on your server lag, sometimes it just won't apply the damage. Other times it will look like it does and then sort of rewinds it back. That is expected behavior. So again, we've got a lot of action down there, still in caution. I want to see how this all works from hidden, so we'll fast forward again to me getting back into hidden status. So now that I ran all the way out of town and back in, I'm back in hidden. And let's see what happens. We're going to try and finish off this level 48 here in one shot. There we go. Sneak attack damage applied, 3.5 times damage. I'm back into caution, and again we can see little chunks. So in hidden, if we're hidden, our status takes precedence over the game. We will get our sneak attack criticals, regardless of what anything is aggroed to, but the second we go into caution, we lose that ability. Again, don't know if that's intended, don't know if it's a bug, but it's interesting, and we'll take a look at it later. This is basically how things have always worked, so it's really hard to tell. It works so consistently that it's really hard to call it a bug, but it does seem a bit counterintuitive, so at the end of the day, I'm not here to decide if it's a bug or not. I'm here to show you how it works, so you know, so you can use your build effectively. So we see how it all works against Super Mutants. Let's try and find something else to kill and see if it works the same way. So we're heading up a trail just outside Huntersville, and here we find some mole miners. We are both in stealth, and we'll see that everything works as expected. There we go. No big surprise there. Let's go ahead and let my friend get herself detected and see if anything changes with a different enemy type. Okay, here we go. She has been spotted. I'm in hidden. And my first shot, my sneak attack counts. But now my follow-ups where I'm in caution, just little pieces of damage. So we can see again, everything is working consistently as it did with the Super Mutants. Not really a surprise. All enemy mechanics and stealth mechanics, they really all work the same way. So this shouldn't be a surprise, but I wanted to take a look at it just in case. You never know. And she's just being chased around. I'm trying to get back into hidden status here, but I think we get the point as of now. But there's still one last thing to check. We now can clearly see how all of this works when you're on a team or you have a friend around, or just another player. But what if there are no other players around and it's just two different types of enemy NPCs fighting against each other? Let's take a trip to the crater by the monorail and see how that works out for us. This is considered a random assault spawn where enemies will fight each other. So here I'm in hidden. What happens with a super mutant? Big chunk. So we got our sneak attack damage from hidden, but now look, I'm in caution. Those enemies are aggroed against each other, and I'm only getting little pieces of damage. So isn't that interesting now? It's not just about whether or not there are other players around. It's also about whether or not the enemy is aggroed to anything. And then you notice there at the tail end, it was a little hard to see, but once the sentry bot went down, the enemies were no longer aggroed, and I was able to get my sneak attack criticals, as you would expect. Now, this is really interesting because people often look at this as some brand new phenomenon in Fallout 76, but it isn't. This is actually how it worked in Fallout 4. So here, I've actually used console commands to spawn in a Deathclaw and a Super Mutant. And now we have a third enemy that's just decided to show up. I'm in caution, and you'll see that my sneak attack pop-up doesn't show up. Now, in Fallout 4, we can rely on that alone as an indicator because that works consistently in Fallout 4, where in Fallout 76, it's a little wonky. So we're in caution, and here again, we're not getting sneak attack criticals because those enemies are aggroed against each other. And here we can see it one more time in action. We're hidden, enemies are aggroed, sneak attack counts against the Mega Sloth, still hidden. Sneak attack counts against the Super Mutant Warlord, now we're in caution. And we've got rubber banding health bars and just little bits of damage. And my teammate is nowhere in sight. So everything here is just NPCs aggroing each other. We'll go ahead and take out some of these folks here to clear a path. There we go. And let's see if we can take out the sloth. And now the enemies, once he dies, finally, if he dies, there we go. Now these guys aren't aggroed to anything. And you can see that my sneak attacks are working once again. And I'm pretty sure there's one more hanging out here. Let's find him and drive the point home, and then we'll wrap up today's video. There he is. Counts. Counts. Sneak attacks are counting. There we go. And that settles it, ladies and gentlemen. This is clearly how it works. We now have a full and total understanding of how sneak attack damage works in Fallout 76. So what have we learned? Our number one takeaway, especially for snipers who rely on massive single-shot damage, if you're in hidden status, your sneak attack damage will always apply, regardless of who or what your target might be engaged with. If you're playing with teammates or even just other players nearby, if you're all in stealth, your sneak attack damage multipliers will apply as expected. That's whether you're in hidden status or in caution status. But if anyone else gets detected and you go into caution status, your sneak attack damage multipliers will not apply. You'll see them reflected in your damage numbers, but they won't actually apply to your target. Depending on lag, you might even see them apply to the enemy's health bar and then rubber band back. This is all really good information for anybody running a stealth build, especially for bosses like the Scorchbeast Queen and Earl Williams. If you take them on solo, of course you're going to get all your bonuses, but you can actually take them on with teammates. If they're in stealth too, you'll be able to take down those bosses twice as fast. As I said before, I don't know if all of this is intended or not. I'm sure that seeing the wrong damage numbers isn't intended, but beyond that, it's really hard to say if it's all working as it should, or if it might just be a bit of a clunky mechanic. Considering that it goes all the way back to Fallout 4, I'm inclined to believe the latter, but ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Regardless of the reasons, this is how it works, so be sure to use that information to your advantage. That's going to wrap it up for today, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if you liked this video, found it useful, or anything in between, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the Fallout 76 content I post every week. Till next time, I'm Fisty McRib.